Prince Fielder was once known as one of the most imposing figures in baseball. He had some of the best raw power in the game, and he was seen by many as one of the best power hitters in baseball for a very long time. But before we go too far, let's go back to the beginning of Fielder's career. He was drafted 7th overall in 2002 by the Milwaukee Brewers. And ever since day one, the spotlight was really on Fielder as he was the son of former Major League slugger Cecil Fielder. And at the time of the draft selection, a lot of people were criticizing the Brewers for selecting Fielder so early. It had nothing to do with his talent, but instead his physical appearance. Fielder really had a hard time keeping his weight under control, as there were times in high school where he weighed over 300 pounds. But Fielder quickly silenced these critics. In his first full minor league season, Fielder hit .313 with 27 home runs and just 80 strikeouts and 502 at-bats. And he continued to tear it up through the minor leagues, ultimately making his debut in 2005. He only played in 39 games in 2005, but 2006 was where Fielder made his mark. He played in 157 games where he hit .271 with 28 home runs, 81 driven in, and an .831 OPS. This was good enough to finish him 7th in the Rookie of the Year voting. And going into 2007, expectations were relatively high for Fielder, coming off a very successful rookie campaign. And going into 2007, Fielder was only 23 years old, but he arguably had the best season of his career. He played in 158 games where he hit .288 with 50 home runs, 119 driven in, and a .1013 OPS. He was named to his first All-Star game, won the Silver Slugger, and finished 3rd in the NL MVP voting. And Fielder followed up this impressive 2007 season with a solid 2008 campaign. He played in 159 games where he hit .276 with 34 home runs, 102 driven in, and an .879 OPS. And while this was a step down from his impressive 2007 campaign, it was still a very good season for Fielder. And for the Brewers, this season was a massive success as they made the postseason for the first time in 26 years. And while they were eliminated by the Phillies in 4 games in the NLDS, this season was looked at as a massive step in the right direction. So heading into 2009, expectations were not only high for Prince Fielder, but also the Milwaukee Brewers. And while the Brewers did not live up to the expectations as they only won 80 games, Fielder did live up to the hype. Fielder played in all 162 games where he hit .299 with 46 home runs and led baseball with 141 runs driven in. On top of that, he had a .1014 OPS and was selected to his second All-Star game. He finished 4th in the NL MVP voting, only behind Albert Pujols, Hanley Ramirez, and Ryan Howard. And up to this point in his career, it was clear that Fielder was one of the best power hitters in the game. He was coming off of 3 straight seasons where he had at least 30-plus home runs and 100-plus runs driven in. And he was also looked at as one of the most durable players in baseball, as he played in no less than 157 games in his first 4 full seasons in the big leagues. Now moving over to 2010, Fielder had one of his worst seasons in terms of offensive production. He played in 161 games where he hit .261 with 32 home runs and 83 runs driven in. One thing Fielder did do this season was lead the league in walks with 114. So in some aspects, this was a bad offensive year for Fielder, but even when he's not at his best, he is still one of the better hitters in the game at the time. And up to this point, the Brewers were extremely disappointing as they had only made the postseason once in Fielder's 6 seasons. And while they didn't have the best pitching rotation in the world, they had offensive stars. Their offense consisted of MVP candidates like Ryan Braun and Prince Fielder, to go along with Corey Hart, Nyjer Morgan, and Ricky Weeks. So this team really needed to do something quick. And in this 2011 season, they did just that. They won 96 games, which was good enough to get them first place in the NL Central. And Prince Fielder just put up another Prince Fielder-esque season. He didn't miss a single game while hitting .299 with 38 home runs, 120 runs driven in, and a .981 OPS. He made yet another All-Star team while also finishing 3rd in the NL MVP voting, only behind teammate Ryan Braun and Matt Kemp. The Brewers ended up beating the Diamondbacks in 5 games in the NLDS, leading up to a matchup in the NLCS against the Cardinals. But unfortunately for the Brewers, they ended up losing to the Cardinals in 6 games, ending their season. And for Fielder, his contract was up as he was entering free agency. Lots of teams were in on the superstar, but he ended up signing a 9-year, $214 million deal with the Detroit Tigers. And for Fielder, this was a fresh start. The Tigers were coming off a 95-win season of their own with lots of talent all around. Fielder would be joining players like Justin Verlander, Miguel Cabrera, Austin Jackson, and Max Scherzer. And in his first season with the Tigers, Fielder did not disappoint. He played in all 162 games where he hit .313 with 30 home runs, 108 RBIs, and a .940 OPS. He made yet another All-Star team, won a Silver Slugger, and finished top 10 in the AL MVP voting. And for the Tigers, they ended up making the wild card and eventually getting to the World Series before they ultimately got swept by the Giants. So heading into 2013, Fielder and the Tigers were looking like one of the best teams in baseball. Cabrera and Fielder were one of the best offensive duos in the game, and they had a three-headed monster in their starting rotation of Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, and Rick Porcello. And in this 2013 season, Fielder produced. Again, he played in all 162 games where he hit .279 with 25 home runs and 106 driven in. He was again elected to another All-Star team, making that 5 All-Star appearances up to this point. And for the Tigers, they won 93 games this season, but ended up losing in the ALCS to the Red Sox in 6 games. And at this point in his career, Fielder was only 29 years of age, but unfortunately for him, this was his last real prime season. After this 2013 season, Fielder was traded to the Texas Rangers in exchange for Ian Kinsler. Fielder's first season in Texas was limited to only 42 games, as in June he ended up undergoing season-ending neck surgery. But he bounced back in 2015 as he hit .305 with 23 home runs and 98 driven in. He was selected to his 4th All-Star team in 5 seasons, and it really looked like Fielder could be back to the Fielder of old. But unfortunately, things would only get worse from here. In 2016, Fielder only played in 89 games where he hit a career-low .212 with 8 home runs and 44 runs driven in. Something was clearly up with Fielder, as he had never even hit close to the .212 average that he hit for in this 2016 season. On July 20th of this season, it was revealed that Fielder had C4 and C5 herniations in his neck, which would put his career in jeopardy. And just a few short weeks later, Fielder held a tearful press conference in which he announced that he would not be able to continue playing professional baseball due to his neck injuries. And as a baseball fan, this was extremely tough to watch, as Fielder was just broken down in tears. He was clearly distraught and really upset that he was never going to be able to play the game he loved so much. And up to this point in his career, Fielder was arguably heading towards the Hall of Fame. After his rookie season, he put up 6 straight seasons where he had at least 30 home runs. And what makes Fielder's situation so crazy is that he only missed 1 game in a 5-year span between 2009 and 2013. So when Fielder was at his best, he was probably the most durable player in baseball. He just simply did not miss games. For a player who seemed to simply not miss games, it is just so surprising to see Fielder retire due to nagging injuries. But Fielder's career is a prime example that neck injuries in sports are no joke. He went from being the most durable player in baseball to retiring at the young age of 32. So extremely sad story here, especially when you take into account just how durable he was and how his career ended. Let me know what you think down below, whether Fielder would be a Hall of Famer or not if he had a full big league career. Now, if you guys do enjoy the content, feel free to subscribe. I'm going to continue to post a lot more baseball videos here as we head into 2022. So thank you guys again so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.